These community activists aren't giving up anytime soon. In fact, they're headed back to court next week to make their case heard.
Poison control centers nationwide say they've already received 350 calls.
Francesca Maxime here in Syosset, just off the Long Island Expressway. Well, North Bronx says it was using a third-party vendor to transport those files.
He deserves a little treat for his effort.
What is the reaction you're getting?
Well, they're telling me right now, they're asking me what time the attacks have usually taken place, and that is around 1 a.m., 2 a.m. Well, the guy who runs this bodega here in the meatpacking district says it's not so much the snow that he's worried about tonight, it's the city's response. And tomorrow, they're even holding a community meeting.
For Pix 11 News, I'm Francesca Maxime.
Well, this is a story of community activism. Here in Springfield Gardens, community organizers have been getting together since 2005, and things really kicked in 2008 when an outside developer from Long Island wanted to develop this property right here behind this wall and turn it into what these organizers are calling a hot seat motel. And that would be a place where they say we have an hourly rate and then just invite the wrong kind of element like prostitution and drugs.
Why would you put that kind of hotel right in the front of a high school, and then on the other side is a junior high, and then behind that is an elementary school?
The message that they want to send to our kids is unbelievable.
On no circumstances, as a builder, I'll let it happen in my community.
It's disrespect to our neighborhood, and I think it's very wrong.
Any of our elected official, if you go against the residents of this community, you will pay for it. We're asking you to side with the residents because we will win this fight with or without you.
You know, I have not seen such a show of community support against a project or for something that they really believe in such a long time. These people have been at this for years now. Under a zoning law the activists got passed in 2008, a motel could not be built on this North Conduit Avenue property. But developer Salish Gandhi was allowed to proceed under the old zoning law. His attorney says he's within his rights.
I don't think it's a moral issue for someone to buy a piece of property and propose to build a hotel and spend the money to build a hotel, and there's no application for any illicit activity, that's for sure. It's an application for a hotel.
These community activists aren't giving up anytime soon. In fact, they're headed back to court next week to make their case heard. They want to make sure that everybody in the community is aware of what's happening about this hotel being built. And tomorrow, they're even holding a community meeting at the Springfield Complex Classroom at 2 o'clock. They want to make sure that everybody is up to speed. We're protecting the city tonight. Francesca Maxime, Pix 11 News.
Francesca, I know you've been handing out flyers, another two women there. What is the reaction you're getting?
Well, they're telling me right now, they're asking me what time the attacks have usually taken place, and that is around 1 a.m., 2 a.m., a couple on a Wednesday, and one, rather, I should say, on a Sunday. So really kind of during the overnight hours, but that's the guy you're looking for. This is the guy right here. Yeah, stay safe. Yeah, absolutely. Now, they're asking for these, and we are here to help, so come and get one. If you're watching our reports on WPIX right now, send anybody by. We will give these out. I got plenty of these. What has been happening? Well, a creep in Brooklyn is trying to rape women here, all right? So if you're a woman in Brooklyn, you want to listen to this, you want to take a good look at this picture and take a good look at the video that we're going to show you shortly. On 3 separate occasions in January, just over the last few weeks, in Bensonhurst and in Fort Greene, this guy has come up to women, sometimes from behind, slapped one of them, pushed them on a fence, tried to take off their clothes, exposed himself, tried to take off one woman's panties. It's really extreme, so you want to stay away. We're going to tell you where these actually took place. On Sunday, January 9th, around 2 a.m. at New Utrecht Avenue and 63rd Street. On Wednesday the 19th, 1:30 a.m. at St. Felix Street and Hanson Place. That's right around the corner from where I am right now. And on Wednesday, January 26th at 1:15 a.m. at Fulton Street and Cumberland Street. Now, the good news is that, you know, a couple of the women screamed and the guy got freaked out. He walked away. Also, some people that were sort of standing around was like, something's going on over here, and they came to the rescue. So as far as we know, none of the women that have been attacked so far have actually been hurt, but we don't want you to get hurt, and that's why we're sitting here passing out these flyers like we have been all morning long. We're going to have this picture posted up on the WPIX.com website as well, so you can always check it out there if you don't have one of these in your hand, because you don't want to get anywhere near this guy if he is in Brooklyn and he is eyeing you. Yep, he screwed up. In a city where nearly every possible ethnic group is represented, some Irish eyes are not smiling after Mayor Michael Bloomberg's latest gaffe during a St. Patrick's Day Parade book launch dinner Wednesday night.
The guy beside me looked at me and said, Did he just say that? And yes, he did. And so it was a big shock.
Well, at a dinner here at the American Irish Historical Society, the mayor said something that he probably didn't really want to say. He said that he was used to seeing, quote, inebriated Irish hanging out the windows of the society.
This is a place of culture, of learning, of history, where students go and study, where books are produced, where there's a great historical library there. This isn't a place where people lean out the window screaming about being drunk.
Neil O'Dowd wrote about what happened on the website irishcentral.com.
He was just wrong for a man in his position to make that kind of flippant throwaway comment that clearly very much angered everybody who was there.
Saying that everybody who speaks that happens to be of Irish descent is drunk is probably not in his best interest.
Well, the society is actually within walking distance of the mayor's townhome here on the Upper East Side, and it wasn't just regular people who were upset by his comments. So is City Council Speaker Christine Quinn. She's the granddaughter of Irish immigrants, and she said that she found the mayor's comments, quote, surprising and inappropriate.
We have to be respectful of every other ethnic group. I think for him to make those comments, if an Irish person made them about Jewish Americans, I'd be just as offended.
Aware he'd offended New Yorkers, Bloomberg offered an apology Thursday.
Now, I was talking about a party that they have every year on St. Patrick's Day, where it's traditional to hang out the window and yell and scream, and it's in good fun. And I certainly didn't mean anything that anybody should take offense to.
But is it enough?
It's the mayor of New York City. I have to accept his apology.
Usually what comes out of your mouth at first thought is how you really feel. So, no, it's not sufficient.
With the St. Patrick's Day parade just over a month away, we'll have to wait and see whether the mayor's remarks still sting. In Manhattan, Francesca Maxime, Pix 11 News. Well, they're not the kind of bath salts like these that you can pick up at CVS, but you can buy them online. And they come with funky names like Vanilla Sky and Blue Silk. But health experts say there's nothing smooth about these bath salts, which people are ingesting and injecting to get high. Jessica Warman is with the American Association of Poison Control Centers.
The products are known by a variety of names, including Red Dove, Blue Silk, Zoom, Bloom, Cloud9, Ocean Snow, Ivory Wave.
As of last week, poison control centers nationwide say they've already received 350 calls about these bath salts, which are usually labeled not for human consumption.
They are marketed as bath salts, but they've also been marketed as insect repellent or plant fertilizers.
You can buy the products online and in some states in gas stations and head shops. They sell for about $30 to $170 a gram. Louisiana was having such a problem with the bath salts, the governor outlawed their sale earlier this month.
On January 6th, Louisiana Governor Bobby Jindal announced that he was going to classify the substances as Schedule I drugs, meaning buying, selling, or possessing those substances would incur the same legal penalties as someone selling, buying, or possessing heroin.
The bath salts are being touted as cocaine substitutes and can cause suicidal thoughts, rapid heart rates, and hallucinations. One man in a published report from Mississippi says that he stabbed himself after using them.
It's a shame if that's what we're reduced to. With all the things that are out there that you can get legally over the counter that I read about in the papers, from just regular cold medicine to injecting or sniffing bath salts, sounds ludicrous.
I've never even heard of that, so I think that's pretty crazy.
I think they're trying everything just to get high. That's crazy.
The New York City Health Department says it has not received any calls about the bath salts yet. But if you want to call Poison Control if you have any questions, you can at 1-800-222-1222. For Pix 11 News, I'm Francesca Maxime.
The labor movement made the middle class movement, and that's what made this country great.
In a show of solidarity with Wisconsin union members, New York politicians were joined on the steps of City Hall Sunday by members of the Building Service Workers Union, including former janitor Walter Cooper.
There was a time that we didn't have any respect. Being a union member, being able to fight for respect and dignity and to raise our pay to a point that we were able to support our family was very important.
The elected officials gathered here today really want to emphasize the point that collective bargaining is really a fundamental right. It is just throwing in your opinion along with everybody else's so that as a group you're stronger. The elected officials say Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker's plan would have more state workers covering more of their own health care and pension costs and would limit collective bargaining to wages. As did Walter Cooper, they looked back in history to emphasize their point.
When people walked into coal mines 2 generations ago carrying a cage with a bird, a canary in that coal mine,
and waited for it to die, that was a sign that those workers had to leave. Someone decided that was going to change, and it wasn't the owner of the mine, it was those workers.
Unions fight for social and economic justice. I mean, if you want to go back to the 60s, where unions supported the civil rights movement, was very important for us African American, to me, to understand that unions were one of the forces that helped us get to a point where we were considered middle class.
It is the middle class, these politicians say, that's most in jeopardy.
If it begins in Wisconsin, it will spread throughout the nation. And so what we have to do is gather together and join with our men and women of Wisconsin to say no.
It should matter to all of us what happens in Wisconsin, because that will be the gauge by which others will be emboldened. So we've got to break that and make sure that that does not surpass the boundaries of that state.
It's not about money, it's about principles. It's about what made this country great, being able to fight for something that you believe in.
Until 14 Wisconsin Senate Democrats return to the state, a quorum on the state's budget cannot be reached. Until then, these New York politicians have sent a message. We're with you for the long haul. In Lower Manhattan, Francesca Maxime, Pix 11 News. Hercules is loving all this snow, but the house he lives in, not so much.
We saw this, I opened the door, I didn't know what to say.
Speechless, Denise Hopsids couldn't believe what happened to her garage.
I don't know what you could say. Thank God no one was hurt.
Nobody got hurt, even though Denise and her family were home asleep Friday night when Hercules started barking and woke them up.
He just kept barking. He just kept barking, and then within minutes, the whole thing came down. It was like he knew. It was just...
What did you know? Did you? Oh, you're a good boy, aren't you? The family crediting their 5-year-old boxer with giving them a heads up. Something was wrong.
It just sounded creaking and then giving way and then a huge boom and the whole house just shook.
That shaking, the garage on the verge of collapse under the weight of all the recent snow. The dogs barking, giving them just enough time to move their cars out of the way. The treadmill and snowblower weren't as fortunate.
You want the box? I let go. All right, you happy now?
Now the family's concerned that this wall might topple over and bring a gas line with it. That's why they're not sleeping here tonight.
I have to laugh because if I don't, I'll cry.
The Hopsids say they keep on opening up their kitchen side door to drop off things like their recycling, but instead of being able to put it anywhere, this is what they get.
We have to have a company come in, take everything out, and we have to completely rebuild.
And the Hopsids say that thanks to Hercules' Herculean efforts on early Saturday morning, he deserves a little treat for his efforts, so here's a cookie for him. In Dix Hills, Francesca Maxime, Pix 11 News. Some of the latest classified documents from the U.S. State Department published by the website WikiLeaks show the Vatican was very concerned about clergy sex abuse in Ireland. Cables released over the weekend also say the Vatican viewed Irish government investigations into the abuse as, quote, an affront to Vatican sovereignty. Meantime, the Vatican itself released a statement today telling readers to look at the leaked documents with caution. The Holy See press office says the documents reflect the views of the U.S. State Department officials who wrote them and cannot be taken as the official word of the Vatican. A new report on discrimination against Christians is drawing praise from the head of the Holy See press office. Father Federico Lombardi says the report is important because it gives long and detailed examples of acts of vandalism and other forms of discrimination against Christians. The Vienna-based Observatory on Intolerance and Discrimination documents several cases of intolerance toward Christians in Europe over the last 5 years. One researcher told Vatican Radio that discrimination against Christians is a fairly new phenomenon and is on the rise in Europe. Catholics in the U.S., meantime, will observe National Vocation Awareness Week next month. The U.S. Bishops' Conference says the event will give parishes across the country a chance to promote vocations to the priesthood and religious orders through prayer and education. It will begin on January 9th, which is the feast of the baptism of our Lord. That's the day that marks the beginning of Jesus' ministry.
The rider was thrown off in the process. Neither the camel nor its rider nor anyone in the crowd was hurt. My goodness.
Baby.
I'm so surprised that nobody was hurt.
Poor thing. I mean, poor people in the pews, but the poor kid.
I know.
I mean, it was just trying to do its job.
Right. Getting back up. Oh, my goodness. But
it reminds me of that scene in Star Wars where those big things on those,
the
spindly
walkers,
legs,
yeah,
they kind of crumble. Anyway.
Right. Don't get me going on Star Wars, because I'll go all day.
We'll never stop. All right, stay tuned. There's much more cards coming up. Yeah, so all about the prized locks. I know that I'm really interested in going to see The Fighter because Mark Wahlberg, is from Dorchester, like from Massachusetts, right, where I'm from. We're from sort of that neck of the woods, and it's about these sort of, Massachusetts guys, and I'm curious to sort of check it out. I think I might try to go later on today.
Hits home for you.
Yeah, well, it does. It hits home. Very funny. He is so good at this.
I'm very punny, is
he
what
is
I
very
am.
punny.
Oh, my goodness. Okay. Well, anyway, no more puns, maybe.
Enjoy the movies.